The fluorescent lights of the 42nd floor office in Midtown Manhattan buzzed faintly, a sound that had long faded into the background of Lauren Carter's life. Her desk, a sleek glass slab cluttered with post-it notes and a half-empty coffee cup, sat in the corner of the open-plan office at Zenith Tech, a rising star in the cloud computing world. At 32, Lauren was a senior project manager, respected for her ability to wrangle chaotic deadlines and soothe irate clients. But tonight, as the clock ticked past 8 p.m., her phone vibrated against the desk, the screen lighting up with a notification that made her stomach lurch. Fraud alert. Unauthorized transaction, $12,300. Lauren's fingers froze over her laptop keyboard. She tapped the notification, her pulse quickening as the details loaded. 5 charges to a luxury travel agency, each for a round-trip ticket to Paris. The names listed were a gut punch: Emily Carter, her younger sister, their parents, Robert and Diane Carter, Emily's fiancé, Jake Morrow, and Emily's best friend, Chloe Gwynn. Lauren's name was conspicuously absent. She scrolled further, her breath catching. The charges were made using her corporate Amex, the one she'd linked to her personal account for emergencies after Emily had begged for help with her startup's cash flow issues last year. Lauren had added Emily as an authorized user, a decision that now felt like a betrayal carved in fine print. The total amount wasn't just a number. It was her savings for a down payment on a Brooklyn condo, the one she'd been eyeing for months. Her office, usually a sanctuary of predictable chaos, felt suddenly claustrophobic. She stood, pacing to the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the glittering Manhattan skyline. The city hummed below, indifferent to the theft unfolding in her life. She remembered the family dinner 2 weeks ago at her parents' Westchester home, the mahogany dining table gleaming under the chandelier. Emily had been radiant, her blonde curls bouncing as she described the Paris trip for her engagement party. "It's $2,460 a ticket," she'd said, her tone light but pointed. "If you're stretched thin, Lauren, we get it. You don't have to come." Lauren had smiled tightly, her fork pausing over her plate of roasted lamb. She hadn't admitted that covering Emily's startup expenses, $5,000 here, $3,000 there, had left her savings account gasping. Her parents had nodded sympathetically, their silence louder than words. Now, staring at the fraud alert, she realized it wasn't just exclusion. It was theft. Lauren's fingers trembled as she dialed the credit card company, her voice steady despite the rage bubbling beneath. "This is clearly fraud," the representative said after she explained the situation. "We'll freeze the card and open a dispute. You'll need to change all related account passwords immediately." She spent the next hour in her office, the city lights blurring as she reset her banking apps, email, Amazon, and even her Netflix account, where Emily had once borrowed her login. Each password change felt like severing a tiny thread connecting her to her family. Her phone buzzed incessantly, texts from Emily, her mother, her father. "Lauren, the tickets aren't working. What did you do?" Emily's message read, her tone a mix of panic and accusation. Lauren typed a response, her fingers steady now. "Like you said, I'm sitting this one out." She hit send, silenced her phone, and turned back to her laptop. A new email from a client demanded her attention, but her mind was elsewhere. She opened her bank app, checking her transaction history. Small charges she hadn't noticed before began to surface. $200 at a Soho boutique, $150 at a wine bar, $400 for a consulting fee to a company she didn't recognize. All linked to Emily's authorized user account, reactivated 6 months ago without Lauren's knowledge. The betrayal wasn't impulsive. It was calculated. Lauren leaned back in her chair, the weight of years pressing down. She'd co-signed Emily's apartment lease in Williamsburg, paid for her MBA application fees, and even covered Jake's car repair when he hit a rough patch. She'd always been the responsible one, the sister who fixed problems while Emily chased dreams. Now, those dreams were funded by Lauren's sacrifices. The next morning, Lauren sat in a midtown coffee shop, her laptop open to a spreadsheet she'd started at 3 a.m. Every loan, every Venmo transfer, every emergency payment to her family was documented. $18,750 over 3 years, not counting the Paris tickets. The numbers stared back at her, a ledger of exploitation. Her phone rang, her mother, Diane. Lauren let it go to voicemail, then played it on speaker, keeping her voice low in the crowded cafe. "Lauren, this is ridiculous." Diane's voice was sharp, practiced. "Emily's devastated about Paris. You can't just cancel their trip. We're family. Lauren's jaw tightened. She typed an email to the fraud department, attaching screenshots of the unauthorized charges. Then she texted Emily, "I didn't cancel your trip. You stole from me. The bank's handling it now." The response was immediate. "You're overreacting, sis. It was a mistake. I'll pay you back." Lauren didn't reply. Instead, she emailed her company's HR department, requesting a meeting to discuss her corporate card's security. Her boss, Priya, called her an hour later. "This sounds serious, Lauren. Come by my office tomorrow." That night, Lauren's apartment in Astoria felt emptier than usual. The hum of the refrigerator and the distant honk of taxis filled the silence. She opened her spreadsheet again, adding notes from memory. April 2023, $1,200 for Emily's startup pitch event. Never repaid. July 2024, $800 for mom's kitchen remodel emergency. The total climbed to $21,300. Her phone buzzed again, her father this time. "Honey, let's talk this out. Emily didn't mean any harm. Families make mistakes." Lauren deleted the voicemail without responding. She poured a glass of wine, staring at the city lights from her tiny balcony. For the first time, she saw her role clearly. The family ATM, always open, never thanked. The next day, Priya's office was a stark contrast to the chaos in Lauren's personal life. The senior VP's desk was organized, her demeanor calm but direct. "I've reviewed the charges," Priya said, sliding a printout across her desk. "This is identity theft, Lauren. You need to protect yourself, not just the company." Lauren nodded, her throat tight. "I've already locked my accounts. But it's my sister. My family." Priya's expression softened. "I get it. My brother once borrowed my car without asking. Took me years to set boundaries. File a police report if you have to. You're not betraying them. You're protecting yourself." Lauren left the meeting with a plan. She contacted a lawyer recommended by Priya, a no-nonsense woman named Rachel who specialized in financial fraud. "Gather every piece of evidence," Rachel advised over Zoom. "Emails, texts, bank statements. Build a case. If they're family, they'll fight dirty." Over the next week, Lauren's phone became a battleground. Emily's texts escalated from pleading to accusatory. "You're ruining my engagement. How could you do this to me?" Her mother called daily, her tone shifting from concern to manipulation. "Lauren, people at church are asking about you. They're worried you're having a breakdown." The worst came from Jake, Emily's fiancé, who posted on Instagram. "Some people would rather tear families apart than celebrate love." The post garnered 43 likes and a string of sympathetic comments from distant cousins Lauren hadn't seen in years. She screenshot it, adding it to her growing file. 2 weeks later, Lauren sat in Rachel's office, a folder of evidence on the table between them. Bank statements, text exchanges, even Emily's startup pitch deck, which listed Lauren as a silent investor without her consent. The total unauthorized charges, including the Paris tickets, reached $25,600. Rachel leaned forward, her glasses reflecting the desk lamp. "You have a strong case for identity theft. If you pursue this, it could mean criminal charges for Emily. Are you ready for that?" Lauren hesitated. The idea of her sister in court was surreal, but so was the betrayal. "I just want it to stop," she said. "I want my life back." "Then we start with a cease-and-desist letter," Rachel said. "It's a warning shot. If they don't comply, we escalate." The letter went out that afternoon, addressed to Emily and copied to their parents. Lauren's phone went silent for the first time in weeks. She used the quiet to refinance her car loan, removing her father's co-signature, and applied for a new credit card in her name only. Each step felt like reclaiming a piece of herself. But the silence didn't last. At a family barbecue hosted by her cousin Mark in Long Island, the tension exploded. Emily arrived with Jake, her eyes red but defiant. "You're really going to sue me?" she demanded, cornering Lauren by the patio. "After everything I've done for you?" Lauren laughed, the sound sharp. "What have you done, Em? Name one thing that wasn't about you." Their parents intervened, Diane's voice shrill. "Lauren, you're tearing this family apart over money. We raised you better than this." "You raised me to be your safety net," Lauren shot back. "I'm done." She left the barbecue early, her cousin Mark texting later. "I had no idea they were doing this to you. I'm on your side." 3 months later, Lauren stood in her new office in San Francisco, a corner suite with a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. She'd taken a leap, leaving Zenith Tech to launch her own consulting firm, specializing in project management for startups. Priya had been her first client, hiring her to streamline Zenith's West Coast expansion. The move wasn't just geographic, it was a declaration of independence. Her apartment in the Mission District was small but hers, filled with thrift store furniture and a growing collection of succulents. She'd started painting again, a hobby she'd abandoned in college to focus on her career. Her latest canvas, a vibrant abstract in blues and golds, hung above her couch. Emily's startup collapsed under the weight of mismanagement and fraud allegations. Not just from Lauren, but from other investors who'd come forward after Rachel's cease-and-desist letter made waves. Emily sent a check for $12,300, the exact amount of the Paris tickets, with a note. "I'm sorry. Can we talk?" Lauren deposited the check, but didn't respond. Her parents' calls dwindled, replaced by tentative texts from extended family. Her Aunt Susan sent a care package with a note. "Your grandmother would be proud of you for standing up." Lauren framed it, hanging it next to her painting. At a tech conference in Palo Alto, Lauren met Alex, a data scientist with a dry sense of humor and a knack for listening without judgment. Over drinks, she told him about her family, surprised by how easily the words came. "They saw me as a resource, not a person," she said. Alex nodded, his hand brushing hers. "You're more than what you can give." 6 months after the fraud alert, Lauren sat at her desk, finalizing an invoice for a new client. Her firm, Carter Solutions, had 3 employees and a waiting list of startups eager for her expertise. Her phone pinged with an email from Rachel. "Emily's been charged with identity theft. Your evidence was key. She's offering a plea deal, full repayment and community service. Thoughts?" Lauren leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Part of her wanted Emily to face the full consequences, but another part, the sister who remembered teaching Emily to ride a bike, hesitated. She replied, "Let the plea deal go through. I just want closure." That night, she hosted a small dinner at her apartment. Mark and Susan came, along with Alex and Priya. They toasted to new beginnings, the clink of glasses echoing in the warm light. Lauren's phone stayed quiet, no frantic texts or voicemails. For the first time in years, she felt free, not just from her family's demands, but from the weight of their expectations. As she watered her succulents the next morning, the San Francisco fog rolling outside her window, Lauren thought about forgiveness. Did it mean inviting her family back into her life? Or was it enough to let go of the anger? She didn't have an answer yet, but standing in her own space, surrounded by her own choices, she knew she'd find it eventually.